Good morning, Maria. My name is Andy. Let me fix my camera.
Good morning, Andy. How are you today?
Good morning. Good.
It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
We'll go ahead and work on my video. It looks a little foggy for some reason. Maybe it's
Okay. I know, and I need to fix mine as well. I love that we're like fixing ourselves.
Andy, see me all blurry and foggy, or is it me?
It's a little bit, but not too bad.
Okay.
What do you see?
I see it very blurry or foggy, more like foggy than blurry. I was adjusting the lighting in the room.
Is there anything that I need to do on my part?
I don't believe so. However, I think that when the time comes, I'm just going to stay here on the main channel, and then you're going to assign me as an interpreter. Right now, everybody who joins will be able to hear us talk, but you will need to introduce me as the interpreter. And I believe that you have a Hmong interpreter as well, correct?
Yes, and then I'll start interpretation.
Correct. And that way I can either say it in Spanish if you wish. I can go ahead and say, buenos dias, good morning. My name is Maria Mejia Ing. I'll be your Spanish interpreter for today. And then I give instructions on how to access language interpretation. And I will say at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a globe. It looks like a mundo, like the world. And select the language of your preference. And I will see you in the Spanish channel. And so that way they know how to access it. And then as soon as I'm done and I say that, you click on assign Maria.
So the good news is you're already assigned. I think all I have to do is push start.
Perfect.
I think so.
Okay. And it will be the same for the Hmong. Let him give instructions in Hmong, and then he will go to his channel.
I believe we also have the Hmong interpreter with us now.
Yes, I see that. I am trying to update a link really quickly. Hi, Ivan. I'm double checking the link now to make sure that others aren't experiencing what you experienced.
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
You're going to see my name a lot of times. It's not me. I'm setting it up for the rest of the people.
Okay, awesome.
Getting it
No
all ready.
problem.
Thank you.
Andy, the link that you sent me works. The one that is on the calendar invite does not work.
Okay, that is what's interesting is these folks right here are using that link, the calendar invite one, but I'm updating it just in case.
Hi, Maria. I saw you.
Buenos días, Ivan. Good morning. Good to see you.
Okay, I think I updated the link. Let's see how everyone else does. Hello, I see our Hmong interpreters here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. But for some reason, my camera, I don't see myself. So I need to figure it out. I think
Okay.
something wrong with my end here.
Okay, sounds good. Let us know how we can help.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
¿Cómo estás, Ivan? How are you, Ivan? I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Gracias. ¿Cómo estás tú?
Gracias a Dios, bien, bendecida, iniciando un nuevo año con
Qué
ganas.
bueno. Qué bueno. ¿Lista?
Lista,
Siempre lista.
siempre lista. There you go.
Ya, yo también. Yo
Good.
también.
Glad to hear that. I'm glad to see you.
Okay, hello facilitators, Ivan, Christian. I think we're missing a couple unless Better Blackstone. Is that you, Ivan? No.
No, that's not me. It might be Keith.
Okay.
I don't know.
And just to give a brief breakdown of how we're going to start, especially for the interpreters, I am going to open us up. And before I start introductions or anything like that, I'm going to support our non-English speakers and explain the interpretation part of things. And then I'm going to start the interpretation rooms. So after I explain what we're going to do, then we'll let Maria go first. And then Mom can go second in the explanation. And then I'll start the rooms. And then hopefully if anybody's having any trouble getting into their interpreting rooms, Maria, and is it, let's see, Belor, is that how I pronounce your name? So hopefully you guys can help me out by supporting them to get to their rooms. And then we can also have all of the facilitators. So Christian, I see you in here, available to help in the chat. And then I'll just go ahead and go straight through introductions, introducing myself. getting started. Hey, Christian, do you want to follow up with the rest of your team and make sure that they log on? Maybe a quick text?
Yeah, I will send them the link. Thank you, Andy.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Joshua, great to see you.
You too.
I heard you've been keeping busy.
Very.
Good.
I was up studying really late last night.
Yep, you're in that mode now, huh?
I'm in the zone.
In the zone. It's a big commitment. That's exciting for you.
You know what's really awesome is it really overlays with community development and engagement. And so I really like how being in this realm with nonprofit and with, you know, CDP and CDCs and the school and everything kind of working together. It's just an amazing experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good season, Joshua. It's a lot of interconnectedness. Hi, Daniel. Great to see you.
Morning.
Hey.
Mic check. You hear me okay?
Yep,
Awesome.
great. I think we're just waiting for one more of our facilitators.
Y buenos días a María. ¿Cómo estás, María? Qué bendición. Yo sé que no me puedes hablar directo. Oh, ahí está.
Aquí está, sí, me puedes escuchar. Todavía no me he ido al otro canal, así que aquí estoy con todos. Gusto verte, Daniel.
Igualmente.
Feliz año. Happy 2022.
Sí, ¿verdad? Y feliz año nuevo.
Feliz año nuevo. It's good to see so many familiar faces. Por ahí mire que anda Cristian también.
Ivan, I take 2 sugars, 2 creams, bro. Whenever you know, shoot it.
Who said this was coffee?
Well, some do drink milk, you know, first thing in the morning.
Hey, does anyone know what the password is when you call in by phone? Because the meeting ID is not working well enough.
Okay, let me peek at that for you. And then I can also put the link here in the chat if you want to share that.
We don't use the link, we use the phone. So people are
Okay,
calling in and the link isn't working from the invite.
Okay, I don't see the password because there shouldn't be. Let me check here. Okay, meeting passcode. Are you ready? 473263. And I'm also going to put it in the chat here.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, of course. Hey, good to see you, Hedman.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What'd
Happy
you-
Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Okay, that's your mic check. I don't know if you want to do a quick camera check. There you are.
Yep, come on. What's up?
All right, Christian, would you like to mic check really quick? Do you care to camera check? That's up to you. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Buenos días, Maria, and everyone else on the call.
Hey, hermana.
Buenos días, buenos días.
Hey, Vicencia, I see your little side head. Hello. Good to see you guys.
I should probably unmute and say good morning.
Oh, you don't have to. You guys can just chill.
Maria.
Hey, V, I thought you were like teaching people how to, Vicencia, I thought you were teaching people how to climb mountains or something now.
I am.
Are you
I'm,
serious? You're doing both?
I'm outfitting them and yeah, helping them how to spend their money.
Nice. And you're still doing Lowell CDC?
Yes, sir.
Oh, check you out. Dang.
Girls gotta eat.
My game. Huh?
She got to pay rent somehow.
Right? All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was gonna put music on. It's too scary to try because I feel like it's super hard to play music and manage Zoom.
Just
Hey,
sing for us.
it's like,
Sing, Andy, sing.
yeah, it's
the singer.
Andy, it's like when you're driving, right? You're driving, you flip through the channels, right? It's the same thing, right?
All right, let's see.
You are steering us in the Zoom meeting. Now just imagine you're on your
One time
playlist.
it was rap. Let's see.
Hey, I like rap. It's never too early for hip hop. I'll tell you right now, I'm a hip hop head. Never too early for some hip hop.
Nice. I get all like emo. Let's see. No, not that. I should have been more ready for the music part. Christian, if ever you want to save me by just like karaokeing, we're fine with that too.
Not yet. My saving the vocal cords. Next meeting.
All right. You heard
Well,
it here first, folks.
I know Daniel plays a mean guitar.
Who does, Daniel?
Daniel plays a mean guitar, yeah.
Oh, here you go. There you go. It's still a little indie. Sorry, guys.
Let your light shine in. 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 Oh, you children, a broken man. Let your light shine in. Lately I've been terrified of a place I don't know, but that's no reason to keep me finding out. Wherever it goes, I've seen the good side, a bad situation come out fine. I've seen the dynamite reveal the best parts of my life. For 20 years I was completely blind to all of my fears. I've had a way of tearing it down. All of these years I've left with very few to care about. Protect the ones I hold dear. And there ain't nothing you can say to me that could be more clear. Let your light shine in. Let your light shine in. Oh, let your light
Good morning, all. Great to see you. We are going to get started in the next minute or so. If you guys would like to start adding your name, your organization in the chat, say hello and good morning. We would love to hear from you. I know it's hard to all be interactive here in a room this big, but that's just one way you guys can say hello and start connecting with each other. We would love to know who's in the room.
Buenos días, nos encantaría saber quién está en el cuarto. Si gusta, por favor, y puede presentarse en la cajita de comentarios con su nombre y a la organización a la que pertenece.
Vilor, would you like to interpret for us?
Yes. Yeah, this is B. I'm the Hmong interpreter today.
Hello, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, friends, we are going to formally get started in just a minute, but first I want to make sure that we're taking care of those who are non-English speaking. So I am going to open up the interpretation room now. If you are a Spanish speaker, you can choose that language under the interpretation little world icon at the bottom. And same if you are Hmong.
Buenos días, vamos a dar inicio oficialmente. Mi nombre es María Mejía, yo soy su intérprete simultáneo del idioma español el día de hoy. Para accesar los servicios de interpretación, usted va a seleccionar un globo que aparece en la parte inferior de la pantalla. Por favor, seleccione este globo. Una vez que usted seleccione este globo, seleccione el idioma español o el idioma de su preferencia. Muchas gracias.
Cho nên cháu hiện nay là một họ nói này là một cổng rồi bên lúc meeting từ này sao và nó là mong là chỉ nên là một nhà họ họ can từ này lúc screen từ này họ này lúc global này hạt tiền khai interpretation này nên nhà con đây nên là sai khó lùm mong như là đây chỉ nên thấy đi tàu nó lùm mong lúc nào này ở chỗ.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. It's great to see you on this early Saturday morning. My name is Andy Lambert. I'm the project manager of Fresno Community and Economic Development Partnership, also known as Fresno CEDP. And it is a collective of different nonprofits and community organizations here in Fresno. The organization who invited you here is a part of this partnership. So I get to act as the organizer and support to many of these organizations who invited you here. Our goal for hosting this workshop, oh, I'm sorry. I guess now I don't need to worry about interpretation. Is that correct? Okay.
We are hearing some feedback though.
Yeah. Let me go through a little bit of Zoom housekeeping and best practices. If you guys all wouldn't mind staying on mute, unless you are communicating the rest of the time, if you can stay on mute. Also, we would love to have your cameras on if you are able. That's just one way for us to continue to get to know each other and interact. So if you feel comfortable, we'd love to see your faces. And then the chat is actually a great place for you guys to interact, ask questions. We have a few facilitators on with us today that'll introduce themselves in a minute, but they are also available via chat if you have specific questions for them, or we have plenty of executive directors in the room as well. And so if you have questions in regards to any of the content that's talked about today, they're also a great resource. So you can use the chat for those questions and conversation. And thank you so much for staying on mute. That helps us a lot. So our goal for hosting this workshop was to provide a space for you and your neighbors to gather together and intentionally discuss what it's like to build community relationships and walk away with basic tools on how to continue to grow together. Throughout the time, we're going to have different breakout rooms. Actually, your breakout room is going to be with the organization that invited you. And so when we give space and instruction for those breakouts, you can go down to the little icon at the bottom, or actually, I think there's going to be a pop-up that happens that will allow you to choose the organization who invited you. So just be aware of that when it's breakout time. If you're with us via Zoom and not in person with your organization, look for them, choose them, and you'll be in a room specific with your neighbors and those who invited you. And I am now going to pass the mic. So Christian, if you would like to jump on and introduce yourself, say a little bit about your role at ENP and what we can expect today, we would love to hear from you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And before we get moving, B, I was checking interpretation. I just want to make sure our Hmong community members can listen in.
Okay, right now we're still in the main room.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I see some Hmong members in the Zoom here. So as soon as we separate invited to the interpreter room, I think I can continue to interpret. But for now, we're still in the main room.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
We
gonna
need
let Andy step
interpretation
in.
now.
Oh, we are doing that right now?
Yes,
Okay.
B.
Okay, then
please.
I go ahead and do, because I haven't seen that icon to invite me to the room yet. So
So let me see if I can do it on my end and not, this was pre-set up, but maybe I can. And Christian, maybe you know if there's anything we can do to invite him during interpretation.
do you guys all hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm still in the main room.
Yes. And do you need to choose down at the bottom, the world icon?
Actually, yeah, I supposed to receive a link inviting me to be the interpreter. And then
Yes.
when I click that, I will be
Okay.
separate to the interpreter room.
Yes, that link
But so
was sent
far,
to
I have not
your
seen that invitation come in yet.
Okay, that link was sent to your organization, but do you have a personal email that I'd like to, that I could send it to you so it goes directly to you and not the facilitator?
Yes, let me put in the chat right here.
And thank you, friends, for being patient. Talk
I was
among.
gonna say, Andy, I think you should be able to like go to his name and assign him as an interpreter.
Yeah, I thought so too. I don't see that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, everyone. So yeah, please be patient. We want everyone to be able to be part of the conversation. So as we set up our Hmong interpreter, yeah, please use the chat, introduce yourselves, and thank you.
Okay, B, let's see if that worked.
Okay. Yeah, I have not seen that invitation come through yet.
Okay, and it should go to your email and
Oh,
not
okay.
Zoom window. And then what you're going to do is join with the link that it sends you. So you might need to pop off and then click the link and join.
Okay, I can, all right.
Okay, and
Then I will leave here and I log back in.
Well, we can just keep chatting. I know that most of us like to start our morning with coffee, but I don't want to make strong assumptions. So if you guys want to add in the chat what your favorite drink is to start this Saturday morning, I would love to hear that. I've been getting more into tea, not in the mornings. But please use this chat to share with us what you are drinking today. Ivan, everyone's going to see it, so be aware.
Someone put whiskey. I don't know who that was, but
Oh,
sounds
man.
pretty
I'm gonna
good,
call
but
it
just
out.
too
It was
early.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Irish coffee.
I actually switched from coffee to tea about a year ago, and I love it. I love it. I'm not going back.
Yeah, I've started drinking tea like at a certain point in the day. I wouldn't say I love it, but I don't hate it. Coffee, hot chocolate. Yes, we're so thankful for B. Thank you so much for all of your patience, but especially for our Hmong speakers. I know that this is difficult. Ooh, Joshua, that's so fancy. We can also use this time, if you guys wouldn't mind, and if it's easy for you, to add the organization that invited you in your name. It would be great to see who's representing the areas around Fresno. Fresh Grounds, Strong Coffee Now. It's cool. So we've got a couple of other tea drinkers. Okay, we're gonna give it just another minute and then I'm gonna check in on him via email. And if I don't hear anything, I may get started. And Christine, I don't know if you have anyone in the room who can interpret just what I'm saying right now. All right, friends, we are going to move on to just facilitator introductions. And then I will pay attention for when B jumps on. And Christine, if you have anyone who would like to interpret just this part right here, we welcome that. If not, I'm sorry that the facilitator introductions will just go unknown for a bit. So Hedman, I'm actually going to start with you if you don't mind jumping right in.
Yeah, for sure. Good morning, everybody. Saturday mornings, right? It's thank you for making a commitment to wake up on a Saturday morning. I know that sometimes is not easy, particularly when you're working hard on Friday. So appreciate everyone's time. We do acknowledge that as something that we do appreciate your availability. Hey, my name is Herman Quinones. It's pronounced Herman Quinones. From the city of Fresno, born and raised in Fresno, grew up in the Hidalgo neighborhood most of my life, lifelong resident of this community. Happy to be here representing every neighborhood partnership. I love my job because I get to work with residents just like you guys. I get to train organizations like the EDs are all on this call. I have a wonderful life in that respect. So happy to be here. Fun fact about me, I love hiking. I love hiking. I love the nature. Never was a nature kid, but as I got older, I find myself to be at peace when I'm struggling going up the mountain. So appreciate it. You want me to pass it?
I guess I'll go.
Okay, Ivan.
No worries. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Ivan Paz, and I live in the Jefferson neighborhood, which is in the downtown area near a community hospital. I love my neighbors. I love activities in my community. And I work for Better Blackstone, which is under Fresno Metro Ministry. And the hobbies that I have is traveling, reading, reading a little more. And then I like to do MMA, which is a combination of jiu-jitsu and kickboxing.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you. My name is Daniel Dominguez with Every Neighborhood Partnership. I get to work with an awesome team, which includes Herman Quinones. I think I've seen Andrew File on here as well, our executive director. My work is working with residents in Southwest Fresno primarily. I like to jokingly say, but not too much when Andrew's around, but I get paid to make friends, but friends with a purpose, right? And trying to work towards a common or a positive change in the neighborhood. Hobby, I'm learning how to be a better leader by having 3 small children. Honest truth. I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 7-month-old. And I'll tell you what, they test every button of my leadership, and I'm learning how to be a better leader because of them. But yeah, my hobby is just loving my children and carrying my cross to do whatever it is they want to do and whatever they want to see. Makes life fun. All right, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Christian.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Cristian Gonzalez, and I was born and raised and continue to live here in Fresno. My little narrative is I like to say I am first generation Mexican American, eldest daughter to immigrant parents. My parents own their home in the Webster neighborhood. And that's where I lived for many years. I currently live in Lowell, Lowell, CDC. I am your neighbor. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Living in that area though, I hate having to buy Mexican food, but I will always buy Southeast Asian food, pad Thai. Like for those who know me, like if you invite me out to eat, like sure, like the default for many people it's Mexican food, but it's like no, I hate spending food on Mexican food because my mom is a really good cook. So it's always like, oh, so that's just a little fun fact about me. And yeah, so good morning to everyone who's here. And we are going to be sending you out to breakout rooms. And basically, some of you guys may all know each other already, some of you may not. And the executive directors from the organizations that invited you will lead you in some questions so that you guys can kind of introduce yourself as well. What is your favorite Southeast restaurants, Christian? Oh man, they're all along. Thanks, Andrew. They're all along like McKinley and First. So like B&K, First 75, New Cafe, which is in back of 75 Cafe. If you go more east on McKinley, First 76, Mama Noodles. Anywho, there's a big list. In Tower, what's our restaurant, Andy? I always get it confused. I don't know if it's Noodle Express.
Noodle Express.
Yeah, that's a
I
really
love
good
that
one.
that's our restaurant. Those are my noodles, everyone.
But yeah, Andy, I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, we're going to spend a couple of minutes I'm going to shorten it, about 8 minutes in breakout rooms, just so you guys can meet each other around the room, say hello. If you haven't been able to connect with your organization yet this morning, this is a great time to just check in. So I'm going to open these breakout rooms. You let me know if you do not see the organization who invited you. When you do see them, just check their name and it's going to pop you into another room.
Sorry, can you give instructions again? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So at the bottom of your screen, there's a bar that has several different icons on it. And there should be an icon that says breakout rooms. And when you touch that, okay, it's going to pop up with options for you to choose where to go. Do you see that? Seeing a few people pop out, so I'm wondering if you do see that. Can anyone confirm that you can see the breakout rooms open and available? So if you don't see the icon, there is an option that says more and it has 3 dots. If you open that more option, then it'll say breakout rooms and you can click that and choose the organization that invited you. The bar could also be at the top of your screen when you hover over.
Hey, Andy, can you put that phone number that just called into the breakout room for firm?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, you are more than welcome to unmute and ask questions if you like. I'm gonna go down the line, and who I know, I'm just gonna send you to your breakout room. Unless you say otherwise.
Angie, this is Angie.
Yeah.
All our people are right here in one office. So really, there's no need to break out because they're discussing amongst themselves right now.
Perfect. Thanks, Angie. That's great.
Morning, Andy. This is Pining the firm. Can you please send Putty to firm?
Absolutely. I think I just did that. Thank you. All right, I see you, Stephanie. I'm going to send you over. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Maria.
Luz, are you also an RC student?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then Angie from Angie's iPad. What organization are you with? Okay, Angie, you let me know if you'd like me to send you to a specific room.
Christian.
Yes.
I know I always said I was going to eat it, but I don't want to eat it now.
We're closing rooms in about 30 seconds, facilitators.
Okay, and then the EDs will be sharing out.
Yeah, and I think you're leading that, Christian.
Oh, with the EDs? Okay, perfect.
Guys, I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna mute.
That worked out pretty good.
All right, welcome back, everyone. From coming back to breakout rooms, we need to restart interpretation. So please make sure you're clicking the bottom icon and select your language, whether it's Spanish or Hmong. Okay, and it looks like all the rooms, all the channels are clear. I just listened to them really quickly. They're all working. If you don't hear your language, please raise your hand or put it in the chat. All right, looks like we're good. Hope this was a good intro for those of you who don't know each other, or maybe you learned something new about each other during this breakout. And right now I'm going to ask all of the EDs if you can share very quickly your geographic area and what you do. And yeah.
I'll
whoever
go
wants to
first.
go. Perfect. Thank you, Marcy.
Sorry, I am not feeling too good today, but so my voice sounds a little quirky, but I'm really glad to be here and see so many faces. My name is Marcy Santana, and I'm the executive director for the St. Rest Community Economic Development Corporation. We are located and service the 93706 area. So you see us right there, that small little box inside of Southwest Fresno CDC, but hopefully we're going to grow that out soon. We have a lot of great projects that we're working on right now. I've been the director for about, I would say 6 months, I think, somewhere along those lines. So hopped in really, really fast. And for the sake of time, I'll just list, we have some housing development grants. We will obviously work with CDP. We're trying to develop some green space, an airnasium in a park behind our campus on our church. We have a great food to share program that Keith Bergold helped us out with. So we love him so much. So grateful for him. I see Artie Padilla on here, who's on my board. So lots of great people helping us out here, including all of you folks on here. So really, really excited. We have a Rise HRSA grant centered around COVID work that we're working on as well. And I'm really excited to see everyone. Thank you for those who are here representing St. West.
Thank you, Marcy. Yeah, I was gonna say, Hector, on the bottom of the screen, there should be a little circle, says EN. Click on it, and then a drop down menu, and you select Spanish. Spanish interpretation is working. And Esther, if you can share, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Esther Carver in the Lowell community. We are right at the top of the triangle, between the triangle of freeways there on our little map. The Lowell CDC works on a lot of different things in the Lowell community, including housing, anything really to improve the quality of life in the neighborhood. So we focus on affordable housing. We provide services for residents, so that those things include tutoring programs and community gardening and little libraries and literacy and health and all of those things as well. And we're working to bring a neighborhood trust to the area, which would help expand affordable housing outside of Lowell and reach really the central Fresno area. So we're excited about all of those things and excited to be here with a few neighbors today. So thanks.
Thank you, Esther. Face.
Yeah. See me?
Yes, we see you and we hear you, Lauren.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren DeBerkey, Executive Director of FACE, Fresno Area Community Enterprises, and one of the pastors at North Fresno Church. We're located on Bullard and 41, close to Robinson Elementary and Hoover High School, and we got some great enthusiastic residents from the Robinson Hoover neighborhood. We do a lot in the area of workforce development. We have 3 social enterprises that employ people with barriers to employment. And then we also do some educational activities with after-school programs and summer programs for youth, as well as just being a safe place for residents who can come by and we can resource, have a place to do resumes, hang out, and just figure out how to be a part of the community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. And let's keep going with Highway CD, please.
Good morning. We are from Highway City. We are the west of 99, kind of northwest area. We encompass all of Central Unified School District, and we focus on health, being literacy partners with the school district, combating food insecurity in our area. We are also working on a small green space project. And then we are out there for our West of 99 small businesses as a business support system. And we work with our youth in either leadership, mentoring, and in learning how to serve in your community.
Thank you, April and Highway City. And we'll stay in that geographic area. And I'm gonna ask Adams.
Good morning, everyone. Angie Isaac, Executive Director for the Jane Addams CDC. We are, some of the programs that we have is, and this is from the people that have requested it, is things like healthy eating, how to prepare certain meals, education or continued education for children, food giveaway, of course, vaccine and boosters, and things like that. We try to listen to the community and try to provide whatever services that they need. And before I forget, our area is from Clinton to Belmont and Golden State to Marks. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Angie. Let's go with Firm.
안녕하세요. My name is Christine and I'm the Executive Director of Firm, and I'm actually going to have Paying do our introductions to who we are in the neighborhood, all in Hmong. Go Paying.
No sound. We're not hearing from Paying.
Hi, good morning. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
We hear you now.
Nhớ trong sân gió là đấy bây giờ cái program manager nhớ thì còn học firm ở trong xe cho nè chế hết chế tại cái nó sân gió còn xe to còn lưu training the nó.
Thank you, Paying. I'm going to ask you if you can say that in English, because the Hmong interpreter was interpreting in Hmong and our Spanish speakers do not understand Hmong.
Good morning, everyone. This is Paying with Firm. I've been with Firm for about 5.5 years now. I am the program manager. We do We do just about almost everything from community building, from wellness and COVID testing, all kinds of services for refugees, plus more. So we are centrally based. The map is kind of small, but we are on Fresno and Loden, right before the Veterans Hospital.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing that in English for us. Next, let's go with El Dorado Park.
All right, hello, hold on.
Hello, can you hear me from the back row?
Yes.
Yeah, Jackie Holmes is all the way in the back. Let's see.
That's Jackie Holmes. I'm the president of the board, and my goal is to always be in the back row. And El Dorado Park CDC is located just west of Fresno State, between Shaw and Barstow. Our mission is to enhance the assets of residents. And this morning we have here on behalf of El Dorado Park, 13 residents, 3 on Zoom and 10 in the room, masked. So shout it out. What do we do in El Dorado Park?
Composting.
What else?
Community garden.
Community gardens, keep going.
Resumes. We distribute healthy food.
Food to share.
distribution, job plans.
Everything.
Help people with license. We have meetings to, with people that can have new ideas to serve the community and bring our neighbors together.
I don't know if she can hear.
We eat.
Yeah,
A special shout out to Latoya and Emerald.
Here, look, we got her in the kitchen over there, you know, so we're getting some food going.
We have Big Star, our waffles and fruit for vegetable, fruit for breakfast. Most of this food is compliments of food to share. Let's hear it for food to share. Yay.
Thank you, El Dorado Park. Definitely jelly. I'm missing out on those waffles, man. Okay, so thank you, El Dorado Park. Next, I'm gonna invite Hidalgo. Hidalgo CDC, you're still on mute. There we go. Nope. There we go.
Hey everyone, so glad to be here. My name is Hector, the director of the Hidalgo CDC. Here in Hidalgo, we do resident engagement. We do education with kids from 6 years old all the way to 12, doing literacy and mentoring programs. We also have a teen program to do food distributions throughout the year. Excited to be here and be part of this. Our border to the south is Belmont, and to the east would be, or to the west would be First Street, and to the north would be the 180 freeway. So we're neighbors to Fern, and glad to have them there.
Thank you so much, Hector, Hidalgo CDC. You guys look like you're having a party as well. Andy, are we gonna have our other EDs talk? Andrew or Artie?
Sure, yeah, if you guys would like to give a brief introduction of who you are, especially in relation to Fresno CUDP, that'd be awesome. And then we can just move right along. Andrew, we'll start with you.
Hey everyone, Andrew File, Executive Director of Every Neighborhood Partnership. I'm off camera because I'm watching Four Boys. You don't want to see that. EMP has focused a lot of our work in 93702, 93706 kind of zip codes, and really focused on literacy, focused on recreation and sports, and then also resident engagement and development. So like Marcy, we're doing some vaccine outreach. We have a community health worker on staff who's doing some education and a lot of support of other CBOs like CEDP and the Drive Initiative. So glad to be with you and serve however we can. So we got a great team here.
Artie, you're welcome to introduce yourself. If not, then that's okay too.
Good morning, Artie Padilla, Central Valley Community Foundation and co-creator of CEDP in 2017. And I just kind of, I don't know, I do whatever Andy tells me to do. So that's it.
Glad to have you, Hedman and Christian. Let's jump right in.
Awesome. So actually, Daniel is going to give a little overview about what we're talking today. So Daniel, you have the screen.
Yes. Okay. So why are we here today? To establish some wonderful relationships. Amen. So I definitely appreciate this time we've carved out to hear from one another, for you all to hear from each other in your spaces, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, building strong relationships. So to help us in that process, we're going to be talking about asset-based community development, also known as ABCD. Pretty easy to remember, right? ABCD means what? Asset-based community development. You got it. We're going to talk about community organizing and some methods that we can go about using to engage and organize our community, which means talking about the spiral of organizing. Had to make sure I said the spiral of organizing for my friend Hedman, Ivan, and then we're going to get into learning conversations. What are learning conversations? How do we go about facilitating learning conversations? So we'll be able to do a live learning conversation for you to learn from. We'll take a little break, and then we'll get into the second session, which will be on facilitation. So how do you facilitate a meeting? What are some best practices? And what are you trying to how can you go about activating people in your facilitation process in your meetings? So that's kind of the overview of today. I forgot to mention there are restrooms to your left and or to your right. So please feel free to use the restroom as you need, and grab some snacks, some drinks as you need. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Christian.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And so I'm going to share my screen real quickly and go ahead and start. Let me go into this and hopefully you all see the screen. Oops. 1 second, you guys. I thought I was a Zoom girl, but I guess I'm not. There we go. So ABCD, thank you, Daniel, for that overview. Really quickly, we want to go over like the concept of ABCD. I do want to acknowledge that there's so much good work happening all over Fresno, as you saw on the map with the different people that we have in the room, both residents and the EDs leading these organizations. And this is just one model of how to do community development within a neighborhood. We know it's not the only way, right? But this is definitely one of the models that Metro and EMP has really subscribed to and using as we have developed and engaged our community. So ABCD, again, just a framework. And the approach is that it really emphasizes on building and strengthening our communities from what's there. Like, what are the assets? What are the treasures that are in our community? It focuses on those strengths of the people, on building people and their potential, and strays away from looking at the deficits or what's needed or what's lacking. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Of like, man, there's so much goodness. Everybody has a skill or an ability, and we can use that to drive change in ourselves and in our communities. And this was just a little, this is what Hidamad and I will be covering today. So asset-based community development, again, built on what we have. It's place-based, as you saw the map that we shared as the EDs were sharing. We try to stay within a certain geography, right? So that our change can be within our communities. And most importantly, it's relationship driven, right? A lot of this morning we spent in introducing ourselves and telling stories about ourselves to get to know each other, to build on these relationships. Herman, you're up.
Thank you, Christian. All right, let me format it really quick. Or can you guys see the screen? Yeah. Okay, so, okay, cool. So yeah, thank you for their introduction of ABCD, asset-based community development. And for this point of the training, we're gonna focus on how ABCD is different from other organizational tools, methods to engage your community well. And let's just start with this, right? ABCD embraces a strengths-based approach to neighborhoods. And what does that mean by that, right? For example, let's say this right here. Let's say, I'm sorry, let me go back really quick. An ABC approach versus what's happened in years in the city of Fresno from organizations, institutions. I know they probably don't mean it well, or they're just doing a traditional approach to engage community. But I just want to share with you guys a different approach, right? How ABCD differs. When we say ABCD, I want you guys to know, yeah, that's a great model. So we focus on assets. To be a true ABCD organization or a neighborhood who embraces it, we want to focus on assets. And what does the assets mean, right? It means gifts, strengths, treasures, talents in the community versus only focusing on the needs. We all know we have needs in the community, right? You go in your neighborhood, you know there's a lot of needs in your neighborhood. You need a lot of like sidewalks, we need more stop signs, et cetera, right? Bunch of needs. But we want to focus on what's there, right? And we want to build on opportunities rather than focusing just on the problems themselves. And real quick, ABCD focuses on empowerment versus just services. We all need services and that's good, but how can we get residents involved to also not be recipients of the services, but also providing services themselves to the community with their knowledge, with their strengths, with their visions, their dreams, their aspirations. That's what makes ABCD stand out different from other models of community engagement. ABCD, again, is a strength-based approach, and we want to look at neighborhoods different, right? You see the guy with the glasses, just like me, glasses, right? Sometimes we look at neighborhoods with one lens, with one perspective, right? We don't, because we live there, right? You're a resident, you live in your neighborhood, you see residents, your neighborhood, how it is, it's in decline, et cetera, but we want to put on new glasses, right? Put on new glasses and see what we see. Really quick, you guys don't have to respond, it's just a rhetorical question. But what do you see in this cup? Right? There's water in a cup. There's a cup. There's components. There's 3 components. There's a glass. There's water. Right? What else do you see? It's not a quick trick question. So basically, that's how we see neighborhoods, right? Sometimes we see them only as half empty or half full. And what ABC does is stresses the half full portion of it. If we only focus on what's lacking, my cup's not only full, what's the needs are, then we're missing the mark. We're not looking with new glasses, right? If we look at what's already there, guess what? We get to build on the strengths that exist in your neighborhood, right? There's residents with stories, there's residents with knowledge, residents with experience, there's organizations that are there, schools that are there, neighborhood markets are there. We just need to build on it, make our cup fuller, right? How can we make our cup fuller? And that's what ABCD does. Is focus more on the strengths, not what's lacking, not on the needs, but what's already there, right? And some of you guys walk in your neighborhoods and you see, oh wow, that's a broken sidewalk, or I wish there was a land there. Guess what? New vision, new eyes. How can we build a new road? How can we build a new sidewalk? Well, how can we build a community garden on an empty lot? How can we build a park on an empty lot, right? New glasses. Don't worry about the trash in the alley. We'll get to it. But how can we identify strengths in our neighborhood? That's what ABCD does. Looking at with new glasses, a half full approach. And ABCD also creates space for residents to be in control. You guys are totally in control, right? We want it, that's the aspiration, is residents are in control of their destiny of their neighborhood. It's not from a top-down approach from organizations, institutions, or a system, but residents are carving out a space to decide, become decision makers on what that neighborhood looks like. And And here's an example of a ladder. You guys can't see it. I can blow up my screen. But here's an example of the ladder and what we say, the steps, the formation, the processes, right? Of how residents can climb a ladder to become leaders of the respected neighborhoods. So oftentimes, and it's not a bad thing, oftentimes residents are only positioned to receive services as a recipient, right? Residents are invited to receive services from organizations, institutions, churches, etc. And that's one way residents are involved. A second way, the second step in that ladder is you guys are the information sources. You guys know the chisme in the neighborhood. You guys know the gossip in the neighborhood. You guys know the crime in the neighborhood. You guys know other people in the community. You guys know what's happening in your communities. So you guys are valuable informational sources to help us organizations to come alongside you, provide the right services, funding, movement that is needed. Another step is residents are participants. So now you're invited to participate in community projects, community meetings, learning conversations. You guys are involved in some of the decision-making process, and that leads to the top of the ladder. Now you reach the top, you're flying, right? Now you're on top. Now that means you're at the seat, the center of the table. You guys are in control. You guys are the decision makers. You guys are now inviting those same organizations to come to your space. You guys are designing the agenda, the outline of the strategies, and you're inviting the stakeholders, organizations who invest in those communities to now help play a role to shape what your community looks like. That's what ABCD does. That's why I love ABCD work, because it invites residents to now take ownership power back and help shape their community how they want to see happen. In other words, neighborhoods change when residents organize their communities. Oh, if I wasn't with you guys right now, I'd be clapping, I'd be excited. This is exciting work. Neighborhoods change when residents like you guys organize your own communities. That's the only way neighborhoods will flourish, will change, is when residents say, we want to take the lead. How can we do it? So I'm going to show you guys really quick how that happens through community organizing from an ABCD perspective. So why organize? Herman, why are we organizing? Why are we here? What's the purpose of this goal to organize? You guys see the fish? The fish, and there's lots of small fish, right? There's two parallels. There's an example of a big fish going after small fish, and there's a lot of small fish. Well, that big fish sometimes represents institutions or systems that we all live in, right? Policies, laws that govern our daily lives through the systems that we operate in, right? And the little fish are the people, or us, or it's me and you. It's me and you. Sometimes, and historically, that's how it's been done. The decisions are made with our voice. But look what happens when the fish get together. It becomes a movement. They're mobilized. Now they're telling the big fish what we want to see happen. They're organized to create strategies to implement in their communities that are aligned with communities' visions and goals. That's why we organize, is because when people have the power, people can change their own community. Oh, that's exciting work. And we organize because, again, bad laws and policies. We all know those bad laws and policies in our neighborhood, right? And what you guys see on the screen is a map of the Fresno map, an old map of Fresno. You guys see the red in those boxes? Years ago, believe it or not, years ago, the city from a state level, from a local level, all adopted, which is called redlining. If you lived in those neighborhoods, in those days, you couldn't get a bank loan. It was hard to buy a house. It was hard to build wealth. So laws and policies that always were designed to keep people of color or people or residents like you and I in behind barriers with challenges. And that's why we organize, to change those bad policies, right? Gotta get amen. Oh, you guys not hearing me, right? We can change the policies and those bad laws when we organize. And true change is only possible when people are impacted or at the table. I see tables in these screens. I see table from these organizational leaders. You guys are assembling tables with residents. But man, would it be possible? Would it be beautiful to see residents are at the table or are impacted by those bad policies and laws? Things are impacting their community, and they're at the table and they're designing strategies and changes. That's what organizing is. When people had enough of being sick and tired, They're pissed, they're upset, they want to see things happen. How does that work? With other people who are pissed just like you, who are motivated, who want to care about the community, and they're organized for change. That's why we organize. So what is community organizing? Right? I'll give you guys the big picture and why we organize. But here's what it is. It's basically building power, positive influence with people who don't have it, because we haven't been given power to us. So we're building power on ourselves. So all you residents, it's about getting other residents in your neighborhood to build a momentum of other people who care about the community. That's what community organizing is. It's building a collection of other people who care about the neighborhood. That's basically what it is building power, positive influence in your neighborhood. It's also a process that makes it different from other community engagement principles. And what does that mean? We'll get into it later. But it's basically, this is a process to identify the problems, the issues, the goals, and the solutions. That's what community organizing does. It's a collective practice. It gets everyone involved to hear all the concerns, to identify the common issue that is troubling our community, our neighborhood, and coming up with positive solutions. That's what community organizing does. It builds on resident leadership and direct action. The beautiful picture you see there are a group of residents who participated in the EEP cohort 2 or 3 years ago. And we were able to select residents from 10 neighborhoods to go through a training with us, and we were to build on their existing leadership skills and give them more skills and more skills and more skills for what? For direct action. So they can now implement those new skills in their communities for change. That's what community organizing does. It's focusing on resident leadership and direct action. So what is a good ABC organizer? I'm glad you asked. It's basically a person who listens well and who's able to be a motivator, right? If you want to be a good organizer, it's practicing listening to people, it's empathy, right? It's feeling the pain, the hurt, and feeling the excitement as well, and learning how to motivate people to feel the same about their community. It's a person who loves being around the people. It's a person who loves building new relationships. It's a relationship builder, a person that can introduce another person to another person in a neighborhood. It's a critical thinker, a person who always processes the challenges that are impacting their community and invites other people to help them to think in a strategic way, a person who steps back from being impulsive and thinks about how can we make our neighborhood plan better. It's a problem solver, a person who's not afraid to problem solve, and a person that says, I don't know it all, but I'm going to work at it to identify the problem. How can we overcome the challenge? It's a person who always sees the cup half full. Remember the cup earlier? Half full, half empty? The person always sees the cup half full, no matter where we're at in the process of seeing neighborhood change, half full. I'm gonna skip the last two because I'm running out of time. And here's the organizing spiral, which we refer to oftentimes in community organizing. The ABCD North Star, you guys will see it. And then Ivan Paz, the rest of the team will emphasize later the importance of the steps in this process. So really quick, what is this organized spiral? The pinwheel is adopted by Better Blackstone, our friends here at Fresno Metro Ministry, and they're also work they do with graphic work and also ABCD works. Basically, it's this: we start from step one in the spiral, right? In the spiral of organizing, it's learning conversations. You guys will learn that in the next step with my Ivan Pause. And there's more learning conversations, and it's connecting with other people who care about the neighborhood, and it leads to step 4, which is choosing an action for change, right? Now you guys are coming together, you're identifying the issues, and you're working for strategies. And you're also researching the issue. Do we know the issue well? Who else do we know from the community who has a base knowledge of that issue? Who else can we bring to the community? It's a collective process that's very intentional to identify the issues so that we're knowledgeable as residents to know what we're talking about when we go to the big fish and say we want to organize and mobilize our people. It's planning action, it's taking action. And the last step is evaluation and celebration. Coming back as a team, a collective of residents in your neighborhood, and we're celebrating the big win, right? You're celebrating the win, you're high-fiving people. Yes, and that was a COVID air high five, right? It's saying that we got the job done, the job's not finished. It's also celebrating with your folks and also evaluating what did we do wrong? How can we do better for the next issue that we want to address in our neighborhood? That is a quick 1-minute overview of the organizing spiral of ABCD.
Thank you very much, Herman. I just want to remind our facilitators, remember, our interpreters are interpreting, so keep it concise and short and slow.
Hey,
So
Christian,
they
I
can
get excited.
focus.
I'm sorry. I get excited about the work.
Thank
I'll
you,
slow
thank
down
you.
next time.
Thank you. And Ivan, I don't hear you. Don't know if anyone else is having trouble hearing Ivan.
Okay, I am on. Sorry
Perfect.
about that.
Thank you, Ivan.
Couple of technical issues here. Okay, well, welcome everyone. So thank you, Herman, for that introduction to ABCD. I'm really glad that you mentioned asset mapping. It's a total paradigm shift. Instead of focusing on the negative aspects of a community, trying to focus now on the gifts, the talents, and the skills that people have. And so we introduced the community organizing spiral, and this spiral is based on the foundation of learning conversations. Learning conversations. So what are learning conversations? Learning conversations are intentional conversations. They're strategic, and they're particularly focused on discovering a person's skills, talents, interests, and assets. These conversations are intentional because one takes them serious. In other words, if you are the organizer, you are to take these conversations serious as a critical part of your community engagement activities and commitments. They are also strategic conversations because they flow. There's a kind of flow in the conversation. You begin at a certain point and then you move through the conversation, narrowing in on understanding the person's capacities and skills and gift sets. So these learning conversations, the first step is a fundamental building block for community organizing. One thing that I will share about learning conversations, however, is that there's something that happens when you have these learning conversations. And you know, one thing, as you start narrowing in on a person's interest, sometimes the very questions you start asking them sort of creates a spark inside of them. And the more you do this with many people and the more you bring those sparks together, you set people on fire. Not literally, I'm speaking figuratively. You set people on fire and become passionate about the issue they're seeking to address. So a couple of things about, I won't get into this very deeply, but there are a few things that I would recommend before having learning conversations. And I would say that try to study a little bit about the dynamics of the community. There are many websites. You can go onto Google and Google the neighborhood and find crime rates. You can find out a neighborhood's crime rate. You can find out how many homeowners are in the area. You can find out just about anything you need to know about the community. And it's very important before you engage those learning conversations that you have a sense and a grasp of the community that you are engaging so that you're not entering completely clueless. Okay. So understanding the demographic breakdown of a community is really good, but don't build all of your work on it, because if you start looking at crime rates and that's what you build on, you're going to go back into the old paradigm of just engaging the community for its problems. That's not really why we do the demographic research about the community. It's more of setting the stage for the very thing that Herman talked about, which was asset mapping. So in a moment, you guys are going to engage in an activity where you are going to list out all of the assets in the community. But an asset map can be geographically focused. I would think in my mind, in the back of my mind, I would think about what are the parameters around the area that I'm really going to focus on. And then as you think about those parameters, think about the institutions that exist in the community, the associations, the businesses, and of course, the most important, the residents. When you think about institutions, I'm thinking about like public institutions, schools, health offices, things of that nature. Associations would be more like your church or the neighborhood watch group or the baseball club. The businesses, I think we all know what those are. And then finally, the neighbors, you know, Maria, Guadalupe, Juana Iris, and Benita. So we're going to spend the next few minutes. Can I get the person to intro this for them?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to spend the next 10 minutes in breakout rooms, and executive directors, I know we've talked about this before, you guys get to have a short discussion on asset mapping within your neighborhoods. So I'm going to open those rooms now. Please use the chat if anyone needs help going into your room or finding how to join. And we'll see you back in 10 minutes.
Cool. Any notes for us, Andy, as we're waiting?
No, you guys are doing a great job. I think the only thing to be aware of, which we've been talking via chat, is the amount of time we need to gain back from the intro and how long that took. So if you guys don't mind looking over your content now and deciding based on the objective and the value of communicating with residents, what can be eliminated, that would be fantastic. But you guys are doing great. I love the energy. It's so good to see you guys communicate your experience and your passion. So you're doing a really great job.
Thank you. I'm also conscious of the time thing. I think I kind of did that with one thing, but then I think I went a little too much on the next one. but I'm trying to cut stuff out too. I recognize that.
And what's helpful to remember.
I got my timer on and everything.
Yeah, and what's helpful to remember for these breakout sessions, the EDs are totally prepped for it. And so sometimes we don't need to over-explain each section of it. We can allow them to use their breakout time to define, you know, each of those different things. And so there's a lot of things that we can just throw back to their own conversation, and we don't need to give commentary or description for. I think that's the only thing to hold in the brain, that we can let the other experts within the EDs communicate certain things too.
Hey, thank you, Andy, for all of your leadership. Do you know what a dramaturge is?
No, please.
Well, that's you today.
Dramaturg.
You're not a dramaturg, dramaturge.
No.
Dramaturge. So whenever there's a play, it's the person that orchestrates every role, every piece. So anyways, it's also the person that knows the script inside and out, but also knows the team. And yeah, anyway, so you're a dramaturge today.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad to hear I'm not a dramaturg. And I learned a new word. Yeah, no, you guys are doing awesome. So yeah, that's the only thought I have. Herman, did you have something?
Got a question. How far are we back? How many minutes are we behind?
We are back about 20.
Oh.
Yep. All right. And where I don't want to cut is the breakout rooms, which means it has to be yes.
Okay, so maybe Ivan, we could probably cut my piece, my transition for the second session for group facilitation, maybe you just jump in and you just do your piece.
I'll do that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the structure of a learning conversation, at least all the points, and just get straight to the list of the questions they should ask. I think we already kind of explained the purpose and the nature. I don't need to go through discovery and consciousness, clarifying. I won't even go into that. So I'll do that. And then which one are you saying you're cutting out?
Yeah, slide number. So slide 41, slide 41 for the second hour. I was going to put on the outline. You had me transition from, hey, this is what learning conversations are, and it's how you leverage that by now having small meetings. And that's going to be kind of like your cue to come in with your piece. You just skip that because that was about 2 minutes of me doing that. So we'll just cut that, and then you can just, right, we come from break to our second session, you just come in with your piece.
Sorry, can you give me the page again? I accidentally.
Yeah, 41, slide 41. I was going to do an introduction to our second part of our training. And I was going to do a training overview. I was going to link it from the previous training into this training. That's gonna be about a minute or 2 minute speech.
You want me to just start with 42,
yeah.
which is the open arrow close slide?
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to, or okay, we'll do that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It was actually slide 38, my bad.
And hey, friends, Daniel made a good point in the chat. We have the text thread going. Maybe we should take this to the text thread.
Cool.
Thanks, friends.
Okay, so the slide that you want to cut out is 38, which says CEDP breakout, learning conversations, right?
Maybe not just cut out, but maybe cut out my piece. I was gonna do an introduction, so it'd be just you. We could keep it. It would just be you sharing it instead of me. I'll text you right now. I'll text you.
Okay.
Ivan, is that some physics you got on your backboard there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, well, kind of. It's maybe like the physics of community organizing around Blackstone.
You got that bell curve thing going on in there.
Oh, that's the spiral, the community organizing spiral that we were talking about.
Oh, I thought that was mathematics.
You know what? I like to think that I'm good at a lot of things, but one thing I'm not good at is math.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
I'm assuming you are.
No, I have to take some statistics next semester. I'm terrified, so I don't know.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Before we jump back in, I want to remind you guys to choose your language within the interpreter icon at the bottom of your screen. And Ivan, whenever you're ready.
All right. Let me share my screen. Okay, so structure of a learning conversation, we're coming back to it, all right? So if asset mapping is about taking inventory of a community, then learning conversations are about taking inventory of people. Okay, so this is where you're collecting and finding the treasures. It's inside of the people that you're having conversations with. You discover, you become conscious, and that just doesn't happen for the organizer. It happens between the two folks having the learning conversation. It clarifies perceptions. Maybe your vision of the community was distorted by the crime stats that you saw in your research. Well, now that you have conversations with people, you realize that the stats may say that the neighborhood is bad, but your experience with the people tells you that the community is good. In the learning conversations, there's a particular structure that aims at really connecting with the person at a simple basis. It's a way of also building trust, discovering interests and gifts, and then activating the person's interest so they catch fire, basically, and also creating networks and connections. So why don't we do this? We are going to have a moment, and Daniel and Jackie Holmes are going to model what a learning conversation looks like for us. Take the mic.
All right. Mic check, mic check. You hear me okay? Jackie, you on the line?
Yeah, can you hear us? Hold on, Jackie.
I can. Would you like me to move to the camera? I'm in the back.
Yeah, if you could, that would be great.
Here, you want to sit right here, Jackie?
Yeah.
Or at least that way you don't have to shout. So as Jackie's getting situated there, I do want to let you all know that a learning conversation is not the first conversation that you have with the resident in the community. So again, a learning conversation is not the first conversation you have with someone in the community. A learning conversation is set up. So in other words, I may have met Jackie before, had a quick conversation with her at an alley cleanup project. And then I said, hey, can we connect next week? And she's like, yeah, let's connect. So now I called her, I texted her, we set up a day and a time to meet. And now that we're meeting, so pretend that this is our second time meeting each other. Now I'm going to have a learning conversation with her, right? And I let her know in advance, hey, love to hang out with you and connect for about 30, maybe 45 minutes. Maybe I can buy her some pan dulce, some sweet bread, or something to drink. But we're just going to hang out for a little bit and have a casual conversation. So again, I just want to make sure the learning conversation is not your first conversation, okay? It's a conversation that is set up in advance. All right, so Jackie, you ready to roll?
I'm ready.
So we're going to keep going with the scenario here that we met at a alley project. We're putting a mural up on an alley. And so this is us meeting for the second time, right, for the learning conversation. So, hey, Jackie, thanks for meeting with me today. And I know our schedules are both kind of crazy, but we found some time to hang out. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing
Yeah?
good.
Okay, what did you think about the alley project?
You know, I was inspired by it. What I like the best is the people who joined in that hadn't really participated or known each other before.
Okay, yeah. And what really excites you about seeing new people join in?
Oh, I love to get to know new people and find out what
Okay.
their assets are.
Oh, wow, interesting. Okay, you know, I kind of picked up on that a little bit last time we were talking. You were, you know, with all due respect, you were very much a social butterfly. I see you talking to so many people, and it seemed very easy for you to make friends. Does that sound about right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm trying to get into.
That's okay. I was just sharing that, yeah, when we were at the Alley Project, for you to connect with other people seemed very easy for you. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had other people maybe tell you in the past, like, oh man, you're just so easy to talk to?
Not so much that as you sure talk a lot.
Okay. So again, you like talking. That's great. I love that about you. And I did recognize that when we were hanging out at the Alley Project. Did you happen to meet anybody new there that you hadn't met before?
Oh, yes. And I try to meet the people as we're working together and get to know a little bit about why they're there and what their interest in painting is. Some people, their interest is not so much in painting as it is in just relating or maybe getting some of the refreshments that are sitting on the table.
Okay. Cool. Do you remember any of those names? Do you remember any names of those that you met at the event?
You know, I don't remember all the names. It takes a few times meeting people for me to remember, but I try to get their telephone numbers by having them call me.
Okay.
That my number too.
Gotcha. Awesome. And what was your role at the Alley Project? What were you assigned to any tasks, or did you sign up to do anything?
I think I just kind of moved around and met people and filled in. Like if somebody's almost out of paint, I might go get them some fresh paint. My role there was really to interact.
Okay. Who are you involved with, Jackie? It sounds like, you know, you were there on behalf of, you're representing a group or an organization.
That depends on where it was and when it was. Sometimes I'm just me, and I've only been with El Dorado Park CDC for 4 years, and I've been here 11. So I don't always represent anyone except myself.
Okay, I like that. And Jackie, do you live here in the El Dorado neighborhood?
My husband thinks I do.
Okay. Yeah, well, you know, I hope things are going well there in the relationship. Maybe we should invite him to our next conversation.
Yeah, 52 years strong, so we're good.
52 years. Hey, amen to that. That is such a blessing. That is awesome. Any children?
3 daughters and 6 grandkids, and they all live in Fresno, and they're awesome.
Okay. That is awesome. So are you from Fresno, born and raised?
No, I came here to Fresno State where I graduated in '69. I was born and brought up in Porterville on my great grandparents' homestead, and I still have 40 acres of that, so I feel very connected to the earth and this place.
Oh, that's awesome. Connected to the earth. That's an interesting statement. It sounds like you care about the environment as well. Not only kind of, you obviously care about people. You love talking. That's what I heard you say earlier. But you also not connected to the earth. Do you care about like what goes into the earth as far as what we're building and or throwing into the ground?
Yes, that's part of it. But
okay.
The basic thing is, to the extent that we realize we're part of something larger, part of creation. We are, we have stronger foundations. We can grieve through the changes in life. And we're also become better stewards of that is all around us. That's why I love the garden so much. And I like to boss people. And so having the garden really helps.
You know, I was raised to respect my elders. So yes, I will. If you boss me around, I'll probably follow suit and do whatever it is you ask me. I appreciate the transparency as well. Hey, Jackie, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. We're kind of running out of time here. But what do you really like about your neighborhood, El Dorado neighborhood?
The people.
The people. Yeah. What is it about the people that you like in the El Dorado neighborhood?
Yeah. All right, I'm getting all coached with answers from the back.
By the way, go ahead.
As a team.
Okay, say it louder. Go ahead.
We listen to each other.
We listen to each other.
We can relate to each other.
We can relate to each other.
Hey, all right.
We uplift each other.
Yeah.
And we bring our assets together and there's a synergy of us accomplishing more than we ever could individually.
That's good. That's good. And then on the flip side of this question, what's one dream you have for the El Dorado neighborhood? You know, maybe something that's like kind of gets under your skin. And I wish somebody would do something about that. Or, you know, I dream one day this would look like, you know, fill in the blank. What's maybe something there?
Stop putting trash on our street.
Stop throwing trash on the street.
Yeah, that's under my skin.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
So, one of the things we have here is people willing to speak up, and I am only one of the voices. So when you ask me what would I like, it's more about what would we like.
Okay.
And we are involved in 3 different initiatives right now to support our neighborhood being more involved with nature in the garden, going to the outdoor equity program. If we get that grant, we're working on Nature Sacred, which is another perspective of making your spaces sacred. I'd like to see every front yard here that someone's paying to have mowed kind of some of the time turned into a garden. I'd like to see our garden center of resources, compost. We got a compost grant. Patrick's our compost guy.
You know, I'm hearing this connected to the earth really kind of coming out again. And that's really awesome. And you know what's interesting in my conversations with others in the community, there's somebody who's a business owner in landscape and landscape design. Maybe that's somebody we should have a conversation with together. Maybe start fleshing out this idea. What do you think?
Yeah, we're open to all
Okay.
that. And,
Okay, awesome.
I can see on the screen Brian Henry. He's vulnerable to this topic. We should draw him in.
Okay. Awesome. And in line to keep it in line with the learning conversation, Jackie, is there anybody else you think I should have a conversation with about El Dorado neighborhood? You know, just Adrian.
Adrian can say something.
I would like to envision the community with more of a connection with itself, because like at the moment there's only like so many of us that participate for this community, and I would like to envision more participation within the community to like build something better for itself. So more things in the future that have to tie to like connection with the community with itself. So I would hope more people would end up like participating and growing with this community. Hopefully sometime near future.
Yes, that's really good, Adrian. I appreciate your heart, and I think a lot of us on this call can resonate with that. And so I'm going to end the learning conversation here for the sake of time and an example. By the way, this is the first learning conversation I had with a group of folks. So this was awesome learning experience for me as well. I mean, I've done it, but in different formats, right? So again, just a reminder, a learning conversation is usually you as a leader in your neighborhood set up with one other person. It can be done in a group, which we'll talk about a little bit later, facilitating processes, right? When you have a group of people and you're trying to get information out. But usually a learning conversation is a strategic conversation to learn about the other individual that Ivan talked about. We did asset mapping to learn about the neighborhood, but now we want to connect with somebody one-on-one and learn about them. And again, as you could tell, for me, it's just a casual conversation. But let me turn off my background here. You'll see all of your directors have these forms. They were sent with them, but I was actually taking notes. And this is a guide, okay? This is a guide on how to have a learning conversation. So these are questions that we want to get information out of. And at first you might read it like a script, but as you could tell, I wasn't really reading anything in order. I was kind of all over the place because I'm trying to make a friend. I'm listening for certain information. She talked about being connected to the earth, right? Hey, there's something there. How do I dig a little deeper with that, right? She talked about some other things. Anyways, just taking the information I'm hearing with these questions in mind. So I'm listening intently with listening with intention for the information I'm trying to pull out. And then this information becomes vital as we do more asset mapping. Now we can asset map people in our neighborhood, who has what, gifts, talents, abilities, and traits. So again, this front garden project, I know there's residents in El Dorado Park that are want to work on that. And let's be honest, not everybody wants to work on a garden project. Okay, it's okay if it's not your thing. But I also know that there's this other person who has a garage full of tools who wish that people would use them. And it's like, hey, we just need to bring them together. So having learning conversations helps me learn that information, be able to put it on a map, and really begin to organize our neighborhood for long-term positive change. So this was a learning conversation attempt by Daniel Dominguez here and Jackie Holmes. Thank you to El Dorado Park. You guys are a great team.
So again, learning conversations are very strategic. The flow usually narrows in on the interests, the skills, and the assets that the person has. Again, I would highly recommend that when you make that connection with the person that you're going to have a learning conversation with,
I don't know what you're asking.
that you have a pen and a paper ready, and maybe you can just ask for permission or let them know, hey, I talked to a lot of people and I need to take notes. Is this okay? Then you go on. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? Your family, your passions. And then you ask the third question, what do you like the most about this neighborhood? Usually I have had a lot of conversations and people can't think of stuff, especially if they're in a supposedly bad neighborhood. They're like, nothing. I don't like anything about here. And so usually what I do to agitate them a bit is I say, not even the children? Who's going to say I don't like the children, right? So they're going to say, okay, we'll start there. Fourth question. What is one thing or two, but no more than that, that you don't like about the neighborhood? It's important to say just one or two because people usually have a long list. But what is one or two things you don't like about the neighborhood? What would you like to see new in the neighborhood, or what change would you like to see? And then check this out. Who would you do it with? That's very important right there, because usually people are assuming that the organizer is here to change everything, and it's not like that. He's only here to coach or to spark or ignite. The true change is with the residents, so you throw it back on them. How would you create the change? And then another one, when do you want to create the change? So now you're getting closer to igniting them. Who would you like to create the change with? That now they're taking inventory of their community. When do you, and how much time do you actually have? That's also a very important question, because a lot of us are busy, and sometimes people get excited. You set them on fire. They say, I'm all in. And then 2 days later, they flake out because they didn't have any time, and they didn't think about it because you got them all animated. So make sure you ask that. And then lastly, who should I be connecting with? Okay, so we are going to go, we're going to have a break now. I'll transition it now to Andy or Christian. So go for it.
Hey, I think we missed a breakout room. We have 15 minutes to send you back to your EDs to practice learning conversations amongst yourself. No, that's great. And so I'm actually going to reopen these breakout rooms and let your executive directors lead you in learning conversations.
Then
As
Andy,
always, if you have trouble, then just use the chat. Sorry, Esther.
Andy, do we have a break after our learning conversations then?
Yeah, we do. So we'll just make the breakout room 15 minutes and then you have a 10-minute break. So we'll see you in 25 minutes.
Yep.
Hello all, welcome back. Good to see you. Just a quick reminder before we jump back in. Don't forget to select your language at the bottom of the screen with the little world icon. Ivan, whenever you're ready, we'd love to jump back in.
Okay, thank you. All right, everyone, welcome back. So I hope you had some great experiences practicing the learning conversations. Maybe it was a little difficult, and if it was, I just want to reassure you that the more you practice it, the better you get at it, and the more you become sharp at really trying to understand people's interests and skill sets and things like that. At some point in the future, we're going to be inviting you into following the community organizing spiral a little bit more. At some point, you're going to have to also have a meeting where you bring all the people that have common interests that you had discovered in your learning conversations, and you'll bring them together to have a type of meeting. I won't get into the details of what those meetings would look like, but for now, I would like to introduce you to a very practical framework, and hopefully by the end of this session, you'll have a good grasp on how to facilitate a meeting well. So there are many ways to engage in a meeting. There are many ways to facilitate a meeting. I really like this framework here. It's called open, narrow, close. It's a very simple framework. It really helps you deal with a lot of people who have a lot of different interests and trying to bring it down to an agreement at the end. So you'll notice that there are 3 bars here. You have the large one called open, the second one called narrow, and then the third one, which we call close. Again, the point of this framework is to get everybody on the same page, at least everybody that share in agreement as to what the goal of the meeting is or will be. So agreements are important because they enable people to work together in pursuit of a common goal. By demonstrating how to build an understanding and agreement, the facilitative leaders who engage the residents at this meeting will encourage teamwork and set a collaborative standard for the entire organization, community, or network. So those that are going to facilitate, they also increase the likelihood of making sure that the outcomes are successful. Because if you've ever been a part of a meeting, you will know that not everybody always agrees. Some people stay silent, and then later on they open up and they express their disappointment and things like that. This particular framework is designed to make sure a lot of those things get reduced. Oh, sorry. So opening, let's focus on the first bar, which is open. So in the open bar, what you do here, this is where you ask everybody, let's say the question is a community event, which I think you guys are going to engage in during your breakout sessions. So you have a group of residents that you've had learning conversations with, you bring them to the table, and then you open it up and you ask, what kind of community event should we have? And so this is where you put everything in the open section, everything you can think of. You know, football games, baseball games, chess clubs, everything you can think of. And this is also where you just contain everything. You double ask the question towards the end. If you feel like maybe not everything is on there, you remind people, is there something missing? Is there something missing? Again, this is a place for ideas, the opinions, or information that is offered. Second, you move into narrow. Here, the information is organized for better understanding, or it's evaluated. So a lot of things that happen here is maybe there's duplicates in the narrow section. You start thinking about or asking for permission to eliminate those. Maybe you set them up in a priority fashion. What is most important? And everybody agrees to what is more important or what stands out and why. Then you guys can talk about that and finally advocate. Maybe some people feel very strongly about this point and others don't. This is where you kind of debate and make sure that there is agreement there. And then lastly, in the closed section, you have already reduced that list to a certain amount. So you revisit the desired outcomes, you generate maybe more proposals, you do a negative poll. What does not belong on this list? And then you start eliminating so that by the time you're done, you narrow it down to just a couple, ask everybody for an agreement, and boom, there it is, like the song. Thank you. I think for now, we're going to break out. Is that right, Andy?
That is right. You
All
guys
right.
get another long session to discuss with your neighbors, executive directors. This is the time where you are leading the group meeting facilitation process. And if you would like to do a fun project and plan a community event together, utilizing the principles that Ivan just shared, you are welcome to do so. So I'm going to open up those rooms. Again, any questions in the chat? And we will see you in 30 minutes. Hello, friends. Welcome back. Hedman is going to jump in and close us off for the morning. But before he does, just one final reminder to check your languages and choose your language at the bottom of the screen. And then Hedman, thanks for finishing us.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. So, hey, I hope that everyone enjoyed their breakout with your respected director of the organization that invited you to the space. Hope that it was an insightful time of learning, co-learning, sharing ways how you can develop a community event that would improve the social connectivity, the tissue in your neighborhood to be more refined and stronger. Yeah, everybody flex their muscles. Cool, great job, everyone. So in this portion, I'm just going to share some really good, quick tips that EEP has learned over a course of X amount of years doing organizing work, holding meetings with residents in different neighborhoods, things that we found successful, and we want to share that with you as well. So taking what Ivan shared with you about the open, narrow, and close, now I want you guys to be thinking about, okay, what does that look like in real life when we have people in the room? What does it look like? What does it mean to be engaging? How to make the space safe, where everyone can share insights to learn, and how to improve their community. So here's a few tips moving forward. Just a minute. So icebreakers. Icebreakers are fun, right? So you guys will learn, you residents will learn that sometimes the meetings can be a little, nerve-wracking, right? If you're an organizer and you have a group of people who haven't met yet, or people who do know each other, it can be a little awkward, if I'm honest, right? If I'm honest, it's a little awkward sometimes to start a meeting, but icebreakers, it's a good, friendly way to break the ice of people being reserved, not wanting to share. Folks are naturally nervous. Some are introverts, meaning that folks are going to want to take time to respond. So that space is very unique, right? It's people. It's getting people in the same room who have different styles of communicating. And sometimes we wait on the organizer. So a good, fun way to do it is make it simple. Make the activities really fun. It could be a question. Maybe you open up with a question, not an open-ended question. And you pass it around, let everyone share to answer the question. Sometimes when I'm in a meeting with residents, I do the lucha or a ball that I could toss around, and I toss the ball around somebody to catch it. They open up a question and they read it, toss it to somebody else. It's a fun interactive game. Sometimes just questions. The point is, make it simple, make it fun, make it interactive so everyone feels included, and then you're ready to start your meeting. And before you do that, I would share that oftentimes what's always good is to ground the group, the residents, into the conversation, right? Before we jump into the action items, the goals, the strategies, we all come in with excitement, or we're nervous to find out what are we going to talk about today. So, but developing some ground rules or shared agreements amongst everybody is super important, right? That way we feel the space is well thought out. Everyone has a sense of ownership, and it's not controlled by one person. So here's an example of that from one of our neighborhood groups in the Vang Pao neighborhood. This is what they came up. So everyone agreed to this. Everyone had the open, narrow, close idea. They threw up on the board. How should we start our meetings? What should we do? What should be some accountability? What are some guidelines that we can follow? And everyone said this, and this is one example, like respect others. Everyone comes with a voice, and we want to hear everybody. So let's be respectful when someone shares. Everyone's equal. That means there shouldn't be one person taking 20 minutes and then give another person 1 minute, right? We have to make it equitable, where everyone can feel part of it and not feel like their voice was not heard. And here's another one. Don't take things personal, right? You might have an idea like, hey, I got an idea. And then make it to the open, narrow, or close, right? You can't make it personal. So again, you're dealing with people and personalities, right? Everyone comes with different personalities. So don't try not to make it personal. Another one that this group thought about is don't make assumptions, right? Don't make assumptions of what other people are going to say, or they might turn down your idea. Don't make any assumptions. That's a good rule of thumb, is hold back, wait, let's process it together before we make assumptions, and try it on. Let's try it on. Let's say, hey, that's not a bad idea, or it might be okay idea, but let's just try it on. Let's just try it. And that's a way of saying to the group, giving us permission to try on these exercises, these opportunities, these projects, and it might work, it might not work, but it's okay. And always do your best, right? Always bring your best when you come to the group, because then everyone else benefits when everyone does your best. So let me give you guys 2 quick tips on how to get people going. Sometimes, yes, you might do the icebreaker, you might have the ground rules, shared agreements, but there's still some coldness in that room, right? Like how do you engage people? Make each one feel a part of the brainstorming process for the change in your community. So one thing we learned on EAP is you divide people in groups, in pairs. So imagine, right? If you would, you're in a room with 10 people, you're the organizer, you're sharing off all these ideas, the agenda of the meeting, and you want to get people talking through the steps of how do we create a plan for the neighborhood. We have folks still feel like how not feel a part of the meeting. So hey, what if we do a breakout, right? All you guys were a part of a breakout. Hey, let's do a quick breakout. Person A, person B, they probably come with each other to the meeting, but now they're going to pair up and they're going to have an opportunity to connect with each other. That gets people engaged and feeling part of the process of a meeting. That's one quick tip. Another one is open questions. Try not to have open questions, right? If you ask a question about, hey, do we all want to see the neighborhood change? Yeah, yes, or no, right? It's, hey, how can we make the neighborhood change? Oh, here's an idea, right? So always try to have questions or not open-ended questions. Try to create questions as a facilitator in your meetings to get everyone involved so everyone feels included, because we want to make this an inclusive and safe space for everyone to share. Another idea. Here's another tip from our experience. As residents and as organizers, sometimes we get a lot, want to share a lot, right? And sometimes things don't get up into the discussion piece. So here's one thing we thought about is a parking lot idea. So basically, if you're in a room, a physical room, or hey, if you're in the Zoom, there's ways to do a parking lot too as well in the Zoom. Is hey, we're going to create a space that says parking lot, and we want to value everyone's voice and the decision making, their ideas. And hey, that's a great idea. Let's put it in the parking lot. If we have time, we'll come back to it. If we don't have time, then the organizer can meet with that resident on a one-on-one, or hey, we put that idea back onto the next meeting agenda so we can talk through it. That way everyone feels included, valued, their voice was heard, because the reality is you only have a short time to meet with residents, with a group of folks, to be in one room for an hour and a half. And sometimes you don't have a lot of time. So you want to make time is a valuable asset, and we want to respect everyone's time. So sometimes we just can't get into every topic, every question. So the parking lot's a good way to say, hey, great idea. I want to affirm you. Let's pull in a parking lot. If we have time, we'll come back to it. And here's a quick note. Here's an important distinction or note to take as organizers, facilitators, trainers, is that everyone comes with different learning styles, right? And what you see here is a paradigm or a pyramid of different learning styles, right? Some people learn by a lecture. Some people learn more by reading. People are more audio and visual learners. Some people are more hands-on, right? I'm a hands-on person. Like I can learn, I can hear all the webinars and trainings, but when I go do it, man, it sticks. I got it. Like I learned the subject, or I'm now a learner in what I just learned, right? So demonstration, hands-on. Some folks respond better that way. Sometimes people respond better in a discussion group, right? Folks learn by practicing, by doing, and teaching others. So it's just good, a mindful note as a facilitator that everyone comes with different styles of learning. And so to be creative with your agenda and how you frame your discussion pieces and how you organize around identifying problems and solutions, super important to understand that everyone comes with different learning styles. And lastly, a couple of quick notes is that respect, right? That's one factor in how people learn. If you treat them with respect as equals, you affirm their dignity as they're made by the creator, folks are more inclined to give themselves into the social experiment of changing your neighborhood for the benefit of everyone who lives in that community, right? So respect, super important. And lastly, safety. People need to feel safe and challenged. So hold these things in good tension. So create a safe space. We're not going to gossip. We're making this agreement that you can feel safe coming with something that happened last week, right? It might have nothing to do with the meeting, but hey, I want to talk about what happened last week in my neighborhood. Create space, right, for people to share if they need to share. So hold these things in tension. Oftentimes leads to good, effective planning meetings for your neighborhood. I think Danielle's going to wrap us up.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Hedman. Yeah, having people in a room and leading that conversation can sometimes be a challenge, but I think with some of these best practices that Hedman has just shared with us can make the process a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. Yeah, so my task here is just to give us an overview. Thank you for hanging in there for the last 3 hours. I hope the breakout rooms time and space was valuable to you and your team to immediately implement some of the things that you've learned today. So what did we learn today? What did we talk about? We talked about asset-based community development, right? ABCD. And then we talked within ABCD, they say the glass is half full, right? So as you walk out the front door, if you don't do this already, maybe as you walk out the front door of your place of you call home, as you look out into the community, can you look and say, man, this place is half full, right? I know it's easy to say what needs to change and what it's lacking, but can we begin to say there is good here and we have something to build upon already? Asset-based community development, right? The glass is half full. Then we segued into learning conversations. But before you do a learning conversation, Ivan reminded us there's some homework to be done before you actually have a learning conversation with somebody. That includes asset mapping the neighborhood, right? Doing some research, getting on Google on your phone, right? And finding out what's going on in that neighborhood. What is the police saying about the neighborhood? What are businesses saying about the neighborhood? What's the school district look like in this area, right? And so we're asset mapping, and then we're going in to talk to those in the community so we can have one-on-one learning conversations. El Dorado Park, another shout out to you all. Appreciate learning from you all this morning in that learning conversation. But again, a learning conversation, the document that I was using as a guide is now with your executive directors. They'll be able to print that out and get that to you. But it's a guide to really listen with intent to what those that you talk with are sharing, right? So that we can learn their gifts, talents, abilities, dreams, and aspirations. And not just to learn them so that we know, but to learn them so that we can then activate them into action, right? Activate them into action. That's what it's all about. So then Ivan reminded us, like, what are the things they like about the neighborhood? What are the things they don't like about the neighborhood? What are their dreams for the neighborhood? How much time do they have that they can commit to being part of working towards the change, right? To commit to be part of working towards the change. So asset-based community development says, yes, it's here, it's in the community, but we also need those in the community to be activated and be part of the change, right? So those are learning conversations. Then we talked about facilitation models, right? Ivan gave us an overview of open, narrow, close. And then you had some breakout time to talk through some actual ideas, broad ideas, maybe bringing that focus in and then really nailing it down. What is something we can actually work on in the shortcoming, right? Open, narrow, close. And then Hedman just wrapped us up with some best practices to facilitating a meeting. So a lot of times we think of a meeting, we think of a meeting room. But a lot of times these meetings, we say meetings, but a lot of times they're conversations that happen just organically, natural in your neighborhood, on your block, right? As you're going to the store, maybe you set up a certain time for people to meet at the corner to talk, and you're the one who's leading that conversation. Hedman gave us some great practices and some ideas that we can use to guide those conversations so that we can come out with stronger relationships within that dynamic, that group of people, but then also some idea of what direction we can go next. maybe an idea on what to have learning conversations with people about, right? Okay, before I go into my last little part here, I want to invite you all to use your social media and use the hashtag Fresno CEDP. And he's going to drop that in the chat for us. Hashtag Fresno CEDP. If we could get everyone to turn on their cameras, that would be great. We want to take a picture. Unfortunately, because of various reasons, right? We can't be in person, but love to get a picture of everyone on the screen. And we're going to hashtag this Fresno CEDP so that we can share this out with our network. As you go on to have meetings in your neighborhood, as you go on to do this work, and you remember this training, would you take a picture, a selfie of you and your group and hashtag Fresno CEDP? I think for a lot of us on the call, especially for those that are facilitating today, it's such a breath of fresh air when we see you virtually, right, with social media doing this work. So if you tag us and tag Fresno CEDP, it'll tickle our hearts. I'll tell you what, for reals, that really does mean a lot to us to know that you all are putting this work into practice. Not that you're not, but just it's building community, right, in a virtual way. So I'm gonna let Andy let us know when she's ready to take her picture so we can all smile.
All right, smile, Daniel. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. There's two faces here, so I hope you guys don't mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it one more time. Ready?
One more time.
1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Thank you all. It was great to see you.
Actually, I have one more point, Andy. Yeah, one more point. And the reason why we do this work, right, is because first of all, you matter, right? You matter. You are an important person. You matter. And guess what? So does your neighbor, right? Your neighbor matters. And if you matter and your neighbor matter, then your neighborhood matters, right? That's why we do this work. Aside from that, you are also created with dignity. You have value, my friend. Somebody in this conversation today maybe needs to hear that. You have value today. And guess what? So does your neighbor. Your neighbor was created with dignity. Your neighbor has value, gifts, talents, abilities, dreams, and aspirations. We all have value. And guess what? If you have value and your neighbor has value, our neighborhoods have value, right? I think I'm starting to preach a little bit here. The bottom line is this work is about building relationships with one another because every single person matters and every single person has value and everyone has something good to contribute to the places we call home, to the places we walk as our neighborhood and take our kids to school and enjoy life. And together, as we heard today, if we learn to value one another that much more, we can better work together and really create change in our neighborhoods. We pray and we hope and we send good vibes to all of you that you would really receive that message because together we can create change. Thank you so much for your day. Andy, I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, actually, that was a perfect wrap up. The only thing to add is our next workshop, which is building onto the information that we heard here, is February 19th. So mark your calendars. There's more information to come. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll hang out here for a little while for those of you who have questions or want to stick around and chat. Have a great day.
Andy, do we get a dance party now? Like the after party? Put on your music.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Get it.
That was really good.
Go get it. Go get it.
Yeah, Hildago, I see you.
Hildago knows how to move.
Thank you all. Great time today.
Thank you. Interpreters, thank you so much for your time. You were amazing. Bye, Esther. Have a good weekend.
So I'm writing down the different CDCs. Is there a Jefferson?
There's not a Jefferson.
Okay.
Not yet, anyway.
Which one was Myra with?
El Dorado Park? What do you mean?
There was a MAY Barajas. Are the RC students, who are they with? I mean,
They're with Maria Radiant Valley Spanish interpreters, and I believe those are her students
okay,
who
gotcha.
came on board. So they're listening on how simultaneous interpretation happens.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So learning opportunity for all of us.
Yeah, and Ivan, which one is he with?
He's with Fresno Metro Ministry, specifically Better Blackstone.
Better Blackstone. And let me see. Luz?
She's also a student with RC.
Okay. I'm just trying to, the ones that I didn't know who they were, I'm just trying to make myself familiar. And you're the new resident engagement specialist?
Specialist with EMP, correct. Formerly with Better Blackstone.
Y'all are like little family members going back and forth to different houses, aren't you?
We are. That's how it feels.